Hi, I'm m.j.cole. Welcome to my studio. Today I'm going to run through my new track, Pictures in My Head, and kind of show you how I began to build it to make it what it is today. Okay, so this track that became Pictures in My Head actually started off as an instrumental, as many of my things do, and they normally start at the piano. So I think I probably had a beat, some kind of basic beat. It might just be a click track, and everything normally starts here for me. And this track, the chords for this track are they're all tenths. I got kind of very interested in just playing tenths, very simple chords. So a tonic, a dominant, and then a minor third above, and then running them in parallel. So I think I was just playing around with these and came up with just, and then, and then I had as well. So that's what I basically came up with, and probably to a click track. So I had that, and I think I recorded it on the computer, and so that's all really the only involvement the piano had here, just for those beginning chords. And the track actually opens with there's a guitar sample, and then you hear these piano chords, and then I've kind of interpreted those chords MIDI-wise and used synths and things like that. So that's it for the piano bit, but this is where the whole thing started, at the piano. This is where I'm from, the piano. This is where I like being the most, the piano. So that's it for this part, and then I'll move over and show you how I kind of built it on the screen in Logic and put the whole track together. So this track began as some chords, but I showed you that on the piano just now, but I've just remembered that I think the whole thing actually came from a guitar loop, basically. So the key was inspired by a guitar loop. So I think probably the way I started it was just with a click, and then I had up the loop cloud thing, and I was just running through, I think, guitar loops, and I've actually found the one which I used here in my loop cloud, and it's this one. So I basically just dragged that out, and that's what appears here. So this is how it all began. So then the piano chords that I showed you earlier, they were recorded in from my piano with these mics and through my TubeTech Pre. It's my go-to piano setup, and I haven't really changed it because it kind of sounds so good. It's quite a sort of intimate sound, and you can hear the hammers and the keys, and it's not like a clean Elton John style thumpy sort of piano, pop piano. It's kind of much more esoteric, textual. Anyway, so I would have recorded that straight in here as audio. It's interesting this, because you can hear how it was before. So I recorded over that guitar loop the tenths chords that I showed you earlier. So there you are. I haven't had to chop it, which is pretty good. So yeah, that's just a straight recording from the piano. So that was kind of the beginning vibe, I think. This is an earlier version on the screen. It got a lot more complex later. But at this point, it's still an instrumental. And I've called this What's Up, actually. This is out now as well as an instrumental as it originally was. So I'm just going to play through and just see what I've got up to here. Changed here. Yep, so they're just the tenths. that continued there. I think I actually recorded this as a voice note as well. I've got a really early voice note of just this guitar thing and just the piano chords and kind of me. I won't play it to you because it's embarrassing, but and I haven't actually got to the next bit yet, but I just imagined it being a kind of acoustic, beginning entrance to the song with piano and this guitar thing and maybe some vocal on it, and then it exploding into something fairly unexpected and something non-acoustic and something future and a bit more angular and in your face. So basically what I did is played those chords in MIDI basically, to take it into kind of this other world. And you can see I've tried these chords. These are the chords here. These are the chords. Yeah, so you can see the tenths here. And I think I've chosen so yeah, I put the MIDI chords in, and this I think is an omnisphere setting, yes, sploosh. It's an omnisphere thing. So I've obviously tried these in different sounds as well. Same MIDI. It's probably omnisphere as well, yeah. Crappy keys. Serum thing. I didn't use that one either, but this is kind of the way I do it. I try it in different sounds. I kind of got the chords and I'm just looking for a sort of sonic base to it all. This will probably just be a sine wave EXS. Yeah, it's just, this is me playing the chords in to start with, actually very simply, just nothing on the EXS. And then I've tried kind of moving it through different sounds. So that will be the basis of the notes that I've kind of copied over. But in the end, I ended up with this omnisphere thing, sploosh. And it's fairly simple, this tune. It's quite good. Simple is good. Some of the things I do end up being a nightmare. But so this is all the instrumental still. And I've added some drums and stuff, but I'll just play a little bit of how it drops in. This is the very beginning stage. I still call it a Vibe 420 What's Up. So this is just me messing around, just doing loads of different grooves and seeing what happens. So after the piano we get high sploosh. I can see that I haven't actually, you'll see later in the track, actually decided to change the chords there, but this is the very beginning of it all. So just to run through what's in, it's fairly simple. There's a kick drum, and the kick drum is probably from EXS. Yeah, it's from EXS. Matty Kicks one. So I have, most of my samples come from EXS. I have a huge EXS library that I've just collected over all the years. There's just like loads and loads and loads of stuff. Some of it kind of Loop Masters bits and loads of Akai stuff that I had from back in the day. And I got someone to Peter. Nice one, Peter. To run through all my Akai discs from the days where people used to just bring in vinyl and you take like one drum sample. So I got all that early stuff in EXS now, which is great. And lots of that was using my sample pack actually. Anyway, so yeah, the kick is from EXS. You can just see it like this. So there's a kick and there's a snare, kind of dubstep-y sort of snare. This is from Splice, so I've just chosen that, got that from Splice. And then we have some hats, which are kind of swung. This is all full triplets, 16 T's for the old school Cubase heads, but in Logic these days it's 24, so triplets. So those hats, so basically the drums together are I'm quite into on Logic doing making groups. So I use track stacks. So I've created a track stack with this, and it's up here. So everything's kind of routing through to, what is it, bus 17. So that all appears here. And I remember on this track, I've got a big kind of reverb actually over all the drums. So I've actually got this reverb on, which is it does a lot to the drums in this track. They're fairly tame by themselves, but I've got this on. And then also, you see from the kick track, I'm running a side chain. So I'm just running that from bus 1. The snares on bus 1 as well, and that's it. So basically, I've got a subgroup here going from bus 1 for a side chain, and I suspect all my synths are, yeah, they're all going to bus 2. And on bus 2, I have my side chain compressor, and I'm using the Logic one here. I quite often use the Waveforce one, but. So we'll see, we've got these and this together. So there's a side chain at bus 1. Just running through this. And then imagine all these other keys are running through there as well, which they are. So we have this reverb on the drum bus, and also I've got a decapitator thing. I love the Soundtoys stuff. I couldn't live without it. So let me try and show you what's going on with that. Let's just solo these drums. So this is just adding a little bit of crunch, not a great deal. I always like it on setting E for some reason, but you can hear if I overdid it, it'd be. So this is after the reverb, which is a bit weird as well. But I love this thing. It's good you can kind of mix it in a little bit here on the mixer. Yeah, so we've got a reverb and a decapitator after that. So that's basically the drums. I think I've tried here, you can see I've tried some like hats and stuff like that, which I haven't used. I don't know what these are. And this would be like an extra thing over the top. Didn't use that in the end. Now the bass is from Contact. Been using this a lot recently. So it's basically pretty simple 808. Let me just show you what's going on. So this is just following the bass note. So it's like a C minor thing. So it's just following the bass note of the chords. Yeah, that's that. And that's basically got nothing on it at this stage at all. So the bass is actually from a plugin on Contact called 808 Warfare. It doesn't pop up here on the left. Oh, it's on the postcard, I don't know why that is, but I have a kind of setting for that. But 808 Warfare on Contact is what I'm using for the bass here. I'm using it a bit too much, probably this now. I've kind of got into kind of distorting it in different ways and layering it recently. So this is a very basic stage, so I'll just play through a little bit more because I haven't actually shown you what's going on. I'll just play through from here and you can see what stage it was You can see what condition it was in this stage. So this is the very beginning. Just played some things on the piano, just knocked up a little drum beat, played the MIDI chords in, tried them on a few different synths. Thought the synths are cool. It'd be nice to kind of duck them a bit. So I've just added the kick and the snare into a side chain. Just kind of, so I've got bus 2 is now my go-to ducking bus. So you see probably later with these other sounds, I probably added it to the same bus, and it just means it's all feeding through and you get this kind of, you know, ducking sound. But I'll just play you from where the drums drop in. Now I've used a different sound, the same chords. Gabrielle, swinging pipes. Oh, here I've changed the chords, as the piano was here. Ooh. Okay, we're back. And we're back to the piano again. So that will have been it at this stage, really. Just very short, just some kind of intro, drop into something that could be a verse if it had a vocal on. I just saw the Ride as well, had a much more impressive set of plugins on it before people say, oh, you don't pan anything, you don't put any plugins or anything. This has got loads of plugins on, this Ride. It's got an 1176, it's got another decapitator. H reverb again, I was into that this time. I think this has got its own duck on, yeah. So sometimes I want the sidechain to be slightly different. So on this Ride, it's probably completely nuked by the sounds of it. So if I just solo these, you'll hear. Yeah, I've just nuked it with a Wave C1. I use the C1 quite a lot on sidechain. It's rare I use the Logic one actually. And without these plugins, it probably sounds quite different. Yeah. Yeah, that gives it like a massive ducking thing. So really, that's it. At this early stage, this is kind of like the first sketch. So I'll have just had loads of these on my computer. I just run through, I'll kind of sit down if I'm doing a day of just vibes, I kind of get an idea or just start messing around on the piano. So this was like vibe 420, I think it is. So I've done a lot of kind of vibes. So I generally just try and get things done very quickly and don't think, oh, it needs to be this or it needs to be that or it should be, that's not going to be club or blah, blah. I just kind of let stuff flow and don't really have any, I try not to hold myself back and just keep it going, and then I'll just basically print it at the end, and I've probably printed this and just call it, just think of a name, called it What's Up, just printed it and just put it in the bank. So I'll kind of listen through them, or when top liners or singers come in, I'll kind of run through all the different sketches I have, and it's good to have a great selection because sometimes they just pick stuff that you wouldn't expect them to get vibed up on. But so basically that was it at the beginning. So that was quite an early incarnation. I think that's it for this stage. Yeah, you can kind of see my setup here. This is kind of a template that I have set up on my computer. So I have a spec mixer over here, which is a big line-in thing that all my synths go through. So that's all ready to play the whole time. I don't know if it's going to work now. No, it's not going to work. Oh, it's muted, isn't it? That's why. So all these synths over here are just ready to go at any point. It's just part of my template. The piano that I recorded on here is permanently set up on these inputs. When I record piano, I just kind of, I have these all locked so that they stay there, and then I can just record piano immediately on that. This is all running through my Lynx Aurora, and I have all kind of nice bits of recording over here. So the piano, I've got some Josephson, I think they're called C42 mics, 2 cardioids, and they run through this TubeTech mic pre and then straight into my Lynx Aurora. So that's all set up. I have my Rhodes over there that's permanently plugged in, ready to go. I have an SM7 mic that's really good for kind of just sketching, writing. It's got a lead that goes all the way around the room, so that's kind of good for that. And then I have my main mic, which is a Flea that's kind of set up there. But just to let you know, that's kind of part of my template that I have, so I can just record straight away, like put piano down, put Rhodes down, all the synths are kind of working, so you can fiddle with them immediately. So that's that. So yeah, at the beginning, this was a little Vibe 420 What's Up. And now I'm going to move on and see how it kind of progressed. So I had my Vibe 420 What's Up, and I was doing a session with a singer called Grace. And the way I kind of run my sessions is, well, it can be anything, but like I said before, I have a massive load of vibes that are just sitting there. I might have kind of ideas on manuscript that I've written down for chords on the piano. I might have a little drum loop, or all these different vibes. And when we get together in the studio, we just kind of run through stuff. And quite often, if someone's top lining or songwriting, it comes very, very quickly. I've learnt this more and more and more. It will come like immediately. You play something and suddenly these vocal ideas come through, and something becomes kind of very workable on instantly. And I think I must have played this to her, and she was instantly like, yeah, I think I could do something to that. So basically, we would have sat down and tried different things. But this is the very first, these were the very first bits of audio that were recorded.
Exactly what I like. Calling home a sofa bed, lying wide awake at night, seeing pictures in my head. But when you hold me, I'm slowly being mesmerized. You're exactly what I like, and I'm hooked on what you said. You're my goal, you're my diamond to feel alive when you're holding my eyes. I'll come to life, yeah. May you relieve the lights on.
All right, I won't play more. That is a bit mean, actually, playing the very beginning vocal, because it ended up not being like that. She basically sang it much better later. But this is just the writing stage, just sketching. What's interesting, actually, is we tried a pre-chorus here with these different chords. Just with the guitar loop, I think it is. I might have tried piano on it as well. Oh no, that's the other chords. So there's a kind of pre-chorus, or bridge, as we say in the UK, that's in here, which interestingly enough, you'll see later ends up being the middle 8. So we completely sacked that off, and that became a section later. But this is the very beginning of the vocals. So these are just kind of sketched ideas, and it's literally got nothing on it. I always chuck waves, L1s on everything. Just because it's very, very quick, it just keeps it in line, and it's very processor light as well. So I kind of quite often end up with a lot of L1s on loads of things. Yeah, it's kind of my go-to squasher as I'm going along. As you see, as I kind of move along, I take the L1s off and move on to different kind of nicer compressors that aren't just brick walling everything, but it's incredibly useful to me, and I love that. You can see on the guitar here I've got one of these reverbs that I've only just discovered actually, part of the Native Instruments stuff. But this soft tube stuff is amazing actually. So I've just used this guitar thing. Let's have a listen to that. Guitar. I don't know what it's doing. Oh yeah. Yeah, so I love that reverb, it's good. I've only just discovered it. I always like things I just discover and use them a lot. It's interesting going back through things. I only did this very recently actually. It's a very, very new record. But it's interesting when I go back kind of years and years through things, I just find out I've had a phase of using a certain plugin and I hardly remember using it now, but it's just the kind of phases we go through, right? Different paintbrushes, different days, different shirts, different socks. So yeah, so this is the very beginning. And you can see it's literally just kind of a verse and a chorus and the middle 8 thing. I don't think there's anything else particularly special at this stage. The drums still look the same. Just kind of messed around trying a few different things. I'm not going to play you these vocals because they might be a bit embarrassing. But there will have been loads of different ideas just tried in different places here. I've tried a lot of different things with Grace. All these, we won't listen to them, but these will be just like different vibes, different ideas. The pianos are still there, but it's interesting, we kind of added this pre-chorus or bridge to kind of try and get there. In the end, that came out. So I think that's it for this level. This is the beginning of the writing process. So just beginning to record and getting some stuff in and just kind of feeling it out really. So now I'll move on to a slightly later arrangement of the same thing. So here we are in a much later incarnation of Pictures in My Head. So you saw that like the last time, which is the beginning of the writing, and this is much further advanced. So I kind of name things as we go on. It's now got a name, Pictures in My Head, so we kind of know what the song's called. Obviously it's not called What's Up anymore. It's got vocals on it, so it's called Pictures in My Head. And we're on like 15 here, which doesn't necessarily mean anything, but I like to kind of save as I'm going along. So you can see here, there's loads more vocals have happened now. Let me just play a little bit so you kind of get an idea what's going to go on. This is all the same. Piano and guitar at the beginning.
Seeing pictures in my head. With you, I leave the lights on. Ooh, a different point of view. Yeah, look, but we leave the lights on. I'm shining when I'm with you. I'm shining when I'm with you.
So obviously there's loads more vocals that have happened here. I've got the chorus, we've kind of worked out all the chorus, and there's
With you, I leave the lights on.
4 breathy chorus vocals I've called them, which are all appearing here.
When I'm with you.
So you can see at this stage you've got L1s on the wall as well.
When I'm with you.
So 4 of them together.
Ooh.
Now the revealing bit to this arrangement is this: when I unhide everything, you kind of see exactly what's going on now. There's been a lot of vocal action going on. So these are, in fact, these are actually bounces. These are bounces, and this will have been the original track before I bounced it, which will have had an auto-tune on it, an EQ here just to roll off the bottom end before it goes into anything, and it probably had this limiter on as well before I bounced it. I will have done a bounce in place, and I may well have used flex pitch to pitch all of these. Yeah, I think maybe I have, yep. To pitch all these before they were bounced.
With you, I leave the lights on. Ooh, a different point of view.
Maybe I used auto-tune as well, I don't remember.
Yeah, look, when we leave the lights on.
But basically, I've recorded loads of vocals, and I've gone right in and tuned them all. I've rolled off the bottom end before they've gone into anything, and I will have aligned them as well, probably here. Yeah, I'll have gone into the flex edit and actually looked at all the BVs together and all these hidden ones and line them up so that they're all kind of punching together, because it's quite a pop sound. It's quite kind of American vocal style, so I kind of wanted it all to hit at the same time. So there's been a lot of vocal stuff that's gone on. So we've got this breathy, I'm going to unhide again, I'm going to hide again, that's easier. Okay, so yeah, there's some other vocals here as well. There's the main vocals.
With you, I leave the lights on. Ooh, a different point of view.
So we've got this, and they're 4 vocals again. They'll be panned slightly differently, so it's quite full. These have all been bounced as well. There's been a lot of work going into these as well, by the looks of it. I hate the screen when it's like this. Literally, I can't do any work when it's as complicated as this. So I love to bounce everything. And also, as you've seen, we had to I had a processor problem with this arrangement because there were so many auto tunes and tunes and different compressors everywhere. It was kind of caning my thing. I use a laptop, by the way. This is my laptop over here. So it does pretty well. I've got UAD on the end of it as well, so I kind of use that. But it's been pretty good, and I run these 2 screens off a laptop. But if you want to give me a free new one, anyone, that would be great. So yeah, so there's these main BVs, and then there's some harmonies that have gone on here as well.
I'm shining when I'm with. I'm shining when I'm with.
And then we've got a high harmony here.
I'm shining when I'm with.
Yeah, so we've got that high harmony there. And then also, I've done this sound shifted thing. This is not going to help the processor either. This has been bounced. There'll be a sound shift somewhere here. I can't find it, but this has gone through a wave sound shifter down an octave, but I've bounced it. So that's just underneath.
With you, I leave the lights on. Ooh, a different point of view.
Yeah, and so these BVs as well. You can see it's running through like a Fairchild over the whole thing. They will have had separate compressors on each one, because I don't really like BVs without any kind of constraint on them all hitting a compressor at the same time, because it gets a bit too lumpy. So it's nice to roll the bottom end off, and so you haven't got any kind of thump or unnecessary stuff going on down the bottom. Feed it to its own compressor, so the compressor's moving nicely with that specific vocal, and then feed them into a bus, and then have something over the top to kind of hold them in as a whole.
With you, I leave the
So I've used the
lights on.
Fairchild on this. I don't use the Fairchild that much. I've used an original Fairchild, and they're the nuts,
With you, I leave the lights on.
especially on like loops and break beats and stuff like that. I went to Conk Studios, Ray Davis's place, on the Urban Species album for Talking Loud at the beginning of my career, and they had 3 of those original Fairchilds, which are amazing.
With you, I leave the
Anyway, so I've done that on there. And what else is going on? So there's been a lot of vocal work that's gone on, basically. Okay, so yeah, we can see the sploosh thing is still there. There's a higher octave of that comes in. Now this is interesting. This is one thing I've been doing recently. And I first did it on, I discovered it, it's kind of the Bon Iver sort of harmonizer. It's Antares who make auto-tune. And they have a harmonizer plugin, which is like really great for me. It's been really cool. You can feed a vocal in any audio source. You feed a vocal in, and then you can get to kind of play chords from that vocal. And the chords can either follow the line of the vocal in intervals, or diatonically within that particular scale, or you can set it to have a MIDI input. So whichever MIDI notes you play, it will harmonize the vocal into those particular chords. And I've used that on here in the chorus. So this has been bounced, and I can show you where it came from probably. Here we go. Yeah, so there'll have been a feed that I've used, which is basically the audio which feeds the engine. And this has got no output, this channel, so this is just a trigger. And then here we have the harmony engine that I've loved using. I used this on the Dua Lipa remix actually, so it's the preset from that I've saved, but it's actually called via MIDI. So the audio's coming in, see audio 27, that's this harmony feed, comes in here. I've muted the pass through of the original audio, so we've got a 4-part harmony basically, which can be played in MIDI, and that's what I've done here. This will be the original part, I think. Yeah, so we can see the MIDI part. So I've just played notes with that coming through. And it's great because you can change the spread. You can change the register. Really creative thing that I've been using a lot. So that's been bounced, and that's just behind everything else. And the harmonizer has been bounced, and that's just sitting behind the chorus. I've just used different MIDI notes actually from the ones I showed you, but yeah, so you can hear that running. I'm shining when I'm with you. Just gives it a kind of a bit of a backbone there. So those vocals have been added to the chorus, and as you can see from earlier, I've taken out this the bridge that we had in that very early version, and so there's a second verse now as well. We ain't playing hide and seek, got a different game instead. Building cities out of sheets, so reminiscing about when you told me you only wanna wake up in my arms, building cities out of sheets, seeing pictures in my head. Oh. So there we go, it's the second verse. And I've used this different Gabrielle synth that I showed you before from Omnisphere. That's running through this bus that still seems to be happening. That's from the kick and the snare. There's some more harmonizer here that I've used. Yeah, that's, I think that's filtered up as well in the end. Yeah, there's some automation, there's a filter that comes through this. I've done this, this has been, I've probably used touch for this, I've done it with a mouse. And you get a little thing at the end. Yeah. It's like a little animal. It is an animal. So yeah, that's been going on there. And then we get to second chorus. That's got these new vocals in and stuff. Now, the bridge, or the pre-chorus, that was used before has ended up being a middle 8. You're my gold, you're my dive. Different piano. More harmonizer. Yeah, so there's an extra piano that's come in there. I guess I should talk about the lead vocal because this has all been, this had been bounced. Has it been bounced? No, this is before it was finally bounced, I think. So you can see there's quite a lot going on here. There's actually an auto-tune, quite a light auto-tune. I kind of quite often set it like this. If I go down too far here, obviously you're gonna get kind of effects of it, but it's just a tiny little touch of that. I'm using CLA 2A, which is great. Very noisy with these analog things on, so if you have got a load of noise coming from one of these, you can just switch it off, but I don't know how much that actually affects the sound, but it gets rid of this horrible thing at the bottom. I think in the end on this track, I actually, I've automated, I've just muted it at the beginning and the end because there was a lot of noise coming from that compressor, so I've actually done some automation there. But going through this again, we've got a soft tube that I'm really into, the equivalent of their Yuri 1176, which is really great. Let's just run the vocal through it so you can see.
It's not exactly what I like.
Let's get them all up.
Calling home a
You
sofa
don't need to see that one.
bed.
So I like using two compressors on vocals.
Cause I'm hooked on what you said.
Quite a complicated
You
EQ then.
hold me, I'm slowly
This is the kind of air that we're adding.
I'm mesmerized, lying wide awake at night.
And then there's actually a
Seeing
phase
pictures in my
mistress on this.
head. It's not exactly what I like.
Very small amount of that.
Calling home a sofa bed, lying wide awake at night.
I love this EQ, by the way, the fab
Cause
filter
I'm
stuff.
hooked on what you said.
Anyway, that's what's going on the vocal, and
You
if we unhide, there'll probably be something in here. Yeah, so this will have been lead comps. This is how it will have looked originally. These will be all the different vocals that we recorded. Let's just see if it will play.
It's not exactly what I like.
So this is how it's been comped between the takes.
Calling home a sofa bed, lying wide awake at night. Cause I'm hooked on what you said. When you hold me, I'm slowly.
So it's gone through that. And then also, yeah, I've done some flex pitching on it from the looks of it. Let's get rid of this. Yeah, you can see I've gone right in and actually done some manual flex stuff.
It's not exactly what I like.
Just tweaking that. So yeah, that's the lead vocal. I did actually send this was sent off to Nathan Body, who's in the same building here at the Gin Factory, to mix. So this is kind of just before I sent it to him. So it's in a pretty good state, but he manages to get another, 10-20% out of it, which is great. And it's kind of nice. I've only started using someone to mix my stuff the last few things really, but it's turning out really well because it just kind of adds another level to it. Normally, traditionally, I've mixed all my records myself, but I get it to a pretty good state, and then he seems to be able to find a little bit more juice from it, which is great. So this is just me getting very near to sending it to him. So you can see I've left a couple of things in for the mix that I haven't actually used in my bounce. So there's an extra hat here that he could use, another extra hat. There's this sploosh sound. I've left it open as well. This is kind of with a full open filter to be used in the mix in case you wanted to. Where would it be? Yeah, it's this one. So that's just for mix really. It was quite a good idea if you're getting something mixed to give them some extra stuff as well, like an extra kick that you might have used, or if something's filtered down, just open it up completely so it can be used if he needs to get a bit more kind of welly out of something. So those are those bits. What else is going on? We've got the guitar here into the final chorus. Did actually have quite a session where we tried a lot of ad-libs on this. And we didn't end up using any of them in the end. I think it actually in the end it's missing from this arrangement. There were some ad-libs that went on the end as well. I know there are. So what else have we got going on? There's some delays that I've bounced for the BVs. I had to take them off because the processor was going mad. But I quite often just print little bits of audio, take a little bit of audio, put it on a separate channel, and then I have a delay on that where the mix is 100% wet. So you can kind of control exactly what's going to the delay. I don't really use automation for delays that much. I just kind of like to see a block on the screen. What else is going on? There would have been this. So these are the harmonizers. The 8008 is still there. The Verse 2 synth sound. Octave up, sploosh, sploosh. Guitar. That's the original Loop Masters sample. Still acoustic piano running the way through. The sound shifted chorus thing. Now we've got all these different harmonies that have all been bounced and tuned and kind of aligned, all of these as well. The lead vocal kind of run through that, which has been kind of processed and bounced. I didn't bounce it actually. I'll have sent this off to the mix with all of my stuff on as one option, and I've sent it along as well without any of this on, and I probably sent it along just with the tuning as well. So I imagine Nathan will have used the one with the least on it. I think he ran it through a Pultec EQ or something in the end, and quite a few bits. So, and there's an end bit. What's that? I think this must be just one ad lib that we kept. Yeah. It looked like I was getting a lot of noise off that as well. I bet it's got a, yeah, it's got this on it as well with the 60 Hertz thing on. So yeah, I've just done a mute on that. I have to see what other kind of automation is going on in this thing. Probably not a lot. A lot's been bounced, which is good. What's there? Oh, there's a cut-off on the Omnisphere thing going on. This is the filter running on those harmonizer things. Oops. Yeah, that's that. What else is rolling? Let me see. So I've looked at the mixer page. Nothing really that extraordinary going on here. Just a lot of kind of vocal bits happening. Using a lot of soft tubes. What are these on? Yeah, these are all the BVs. I've really got into this 1176. It's really nice. RC48, the Omnisphere, the contacts for the 808 bass. Squashed Ride still there, flying the flag with its 4 plugins. Basically, it just sounded rubbish, and I just threw plugins at it, but it stayed in the end. Not a lot of buses going on. This is our squashed ducking bus that I showed you earlier with the C1. Oh no, it's with the Logic thing on. I've got a reverb. Part of my template is a reverb set on bus 5 and an Echo Boy set up on bus 8. Goes back to when I used to work at Sound of the Underground, Sour. I always used to have my aux setup on the desk was always big reverb on 5, a shorter reverb on 7, always my delay on 8, have some kind of chorus on 6. 3 and 4 would be saved for a spatial delay, so I'd quite often use an AMS delay and have that on between 3 and 4, so I'd pan something to the right, hard pan, say a clap to the right, and then I'd send via aux 3 to the left of the delay, which normally be a kind of something under 30 milliseconds, and then you get this kind of like ADT, automatic double tracking kind of thing. So always 3 and 4 would be for that. And I'd always leave 1 and 2 for buses like I have here. So it's funny how you kind of retain the same numbers going through your sort of studio journey. So I kind of always know that if I want a bigger reverb, standard reverb across you know, my mixers and stuff, it's always going to be on 5, and the shorter kind of drum one would be in 7. Obviously there's no 7 on this one for some reason, but you know, I didn't need it. I've actually used, on this I used the drum, that delay on the actual drum bus itself as an insert as opposed to an auxiliary. So this is my reverb that I just have on my template, and it's not. I think it's just the first reverb that comes up, and I've probably taken this down from 4 seconds to 2 seconds. So this is my go-to reverb that just to start if I have a singer in or something. On the mic channel, I have an L1 set up, and then I have a reverb on bus 5 and a delay on bus 8, and that's all ready to go. So I can basically just hit record, set the L1 level, and just add a little bit of reverb on 5 and 7. So that's the one on 5, and then on bus 8 there's an Echo Boy, just a delay ready to go, nothing really special, just 8s, and that's ready to go as well. And then I'll have an L2 on the end of this just to squash it down. That's my kind of lazy slap it on the end thing, but you know, I use L1s and L2s and have done for years and years and years. They're just so quick and they're very nice with the processor as well. So you can have loads of L1s running and it's kind of nice. So I always just have my out ceiling up here and just, you know, it's fairly much just switch it on and go. So obviously I wouldn't send that off to pre-master or anything like that. What else can I tell you about this? That essentially is Pictures in My Head as it went off to be mixed. So I'd like to think it was kind of 85% of the way there, and then the mix will add the other final bits. Okay, that's all we've got time for. It's been amazing kind of showing you around my studio and showing you how I put a track together. Don't forget you can listen to Pictures in My Head. It's out right now on Spotify and all the other streaming bits. Catch you soon.